So their beak is kind of sharp. It's on the end of it, you see that little point? That's really sharp. They've also got a serrated beak on the inside as well.
Oh, wow.
But these guys are super sweet. They don't intentionally hurt people. It's just sometimes they get overexcited about their fish and accidentally poke us. So we've got marlin, marina, and coral. And we used to have a white pelican named Bruce. You guys know what's in common with those names?
What was the name?
Marlin, marina, coral, and Bruce.
It's Finding Nemo. I
Yes.
felt the inside of his.
So up there we've got Marina. She's got a birth defect in her left eye. She was born without vision. Coral is on the perch, but I can't get a good view of the wing. So yeah, we've got Coral, who's got a full wingspan, is able to fly, however still non-releasable because of the injuries and imprinting that she sustained during rehabilitation. And then we've got Marlin, whose wing is amputated.
Hi, Marlin.
Oh
These guys are the only species of pelican that will actually dive for their food. They really are hungry. And they're also the smallest species of pelican. So every other pelican is going to be larger.
So this one is missing an eye.
So this one, not missing an eye. She still has her eye. It's just very sunken in.
Don't feed.
Yeah, she's not able to see out of it all. It's a birth defect from, well, birth. Yeah. These guys are super sweet though. We love these guys.
Trying to get to your glasses.
They're so cute. Oh my goodness.
These are Sarah's.
Oh yeah, Sarah. I've met her.
Yeah. We could make this a new interaction, just playing with the pelicans.
Yeah.
All right, and then whenever you guys are ready to move on, we'll go ahead and go to the next enclosure.
Oh, bye.
So these guys are black cap swaddled hornbills. So males are going to be different from females. These guys are actually sexually dimorphic. So you guys want to take a guess which one's female, which one's male?
The males are the ones with the big old things.
Yes.
I thought it would be the opposite.
Really?
So normally in nature you'll see birds with the more brightly colored feathers. Those are going to be the males. However, with these guys, it's going to be the one with the larger caps on its head. It's made of keratin, it's hollow on the inside, and they actually use it to amplify their mating calls. And the girls are going to be the ones with the reddish hair. So we actually have 4 of 11 in the United States, which is a huge deal. It's almost half. And we'll actually be the first facility to attempt breeding them in over 15 years.
Wow.
So hopefully they'll have babies for us. But we have 2 pairs. These guys are paired up. So this spring they're going to build their nests. There's a good chance they won't lay this year, but we're still hoping that they will. This year might be just getting them set up with their nests and everything. We're a little late getting their enclosures, their permanent enclosures built and separating them. But hopefully they'll still lay for us this year. But if not, next year for sure. And you can see the larger one with the larger cast. That's going to be Hyperion. And he actually got photographed by National Geographic. So he's going to be in the 2020 photo arc whenever that comes out. Super excited about that. And I believe National Geographic just recently did an Instagram post about these guys. So if you see any black cap swaddled hornbills with National Geographic, they'll be ours.
That's so cool.
That is really cool.
I just followed them on Instagram like last night.
All right. These guys are great blue turacos. So you can see they kind of look like a mix between a peacock and a toucan. They're very vibrant blue and green. So they're actually one of the only species, the whole Turaco family is one of the only species that has a natural green pigment to their feathers. Whereas their blue pigment is not going to be natural, it doesn't come from their food. It actually comes from light refraction, and if you actually hold up one of the blue feathers to the light, you can see when the light shines through, it cancels out the light refraction going the opposite way, and it actually turns out to be brown. Whereas if you hold up the green feathers, you'll actually see it being fully green. Which is super cool. Not a lot of animals have the green pigment like that, especially a natural green pigment.
With these guys, since they're both out together, it's okay to put Arya's diet on.
Hi.
I would put Blue's chicks right next to him because he doesn't have to walk as far, and Aria won't get to them first.
Do you want chicken?
Or, sorry, meatballs. And you might actually have him. He might actually run down the perch for you.
Okay.
It depends. I would offer him a meatball up there,
Okay.
see if he's interested, and then offer the rest of them down there and see if they're
I'm
interested.
gonna put hers all up on it.
Yeah, put hers all right next to her.
Okay.
These guys are both really young. Mabira actually just turned a year old in November. So Mabira is going to be the one with the pink band on her. I believe she's also yes, she's going to be the one closest to me. And Bumba is going to be the other one. Bumba's kind of mean. She wants food. She's kind of food aggressive, whereas Mabira is very food motivated. So Mabira acts very much like a baby still. She's actually got a hereditary kidney disease, so she gets medications a lot, and she still acts very much like a baby because we're always giving her medications through a syringe, which is kind of a throwback to when they were babies and they had to be syringe fed when they were bred. Yeah. There's a chance Aria's just not going to eat. You guys want to look behind you, we'll actually see Blue, who's our white-tailed hawk. He's actually going to be eating his dinner. So Blue actually sustained an injury in South Texas, where one of the two places that he's native to. And you can kind of just nudge him over with your foot, probably. He's all right. He does fall a little bit, but his wing was broken from the injury. And it had to be pinned up, so he's not able to use the wing. So it's going to be his left wing. You can see he's kind of holding it closer. He's actually not able to move that at all by himself. He'll probably be stunned for a few minutes, but he's going to be all right.
How did he get the wing?
So he got hit by a truck. Ended up breaking his wing. They were able to keep the wing, but he was unable to use it after that, so it was pinned up to keep it from dragging behind him. So he uses it kind of for balance, even though he can't really use it too much. But he's really good at hopping between perches. He's probably going to be there for a few minutes. He falls off twice a week probably. But overall, he loves perching up high, so we let him do that. And then Aria's going to be our red shoulder hawk. She's from California. These guys are similar to the red-tailed hawk in the sense that they have the same coloring. It's just going to be switched. So red-tailed hawks are going to have their coloring on their tail, whereas they're going to have the white and kind of blackish brown color on the rest of their body. And we'll see that with Eon when we go over there. Whereas red shoulder hawks are their coloring is going to be more on their chest, their shoulders, whereas their tail and the back of their feathers are going to be that brownish white color. There you go, bud. He's like, I'm going to finish my dinner now. So Aria came to us. She's actually imprinted on humans. She was most likely captured as a chick and then raised by humans, fed by humans, and then either escaped or was released back into the wild. And then she started harassing people for food, which is not a good thing when you're a hawk and you have sharp talons and a sharp beak. So she's not releasable because of that. She's imprinted on humans. So you can hear her making peeping noises every once in a while, not normal for an adult hawk. But she does it because she has not really gotten over that baby phase. And then we've got red-tailed hawks in the area that will actually come down and sit in the trees and talk to her, which is really cute. And then they started becoming a little aggressive towards her, and we had to kind of keep them away because it wasn't a good situation. But overall, she's very happy. She likes talking to the hawks that sit in the trees and don't harass her. And it's really cute.
Oh.
Yep, there's a peeping noise. And then we'll go around the side of there and
Oh my
close and
gosh.
back around the front.
It's just like a little chick.
So this is Stella. She's our European white stork. These guys are considered pests in Europe. However, we love her. She's very beautiful. she's not considered endangered, but her species is hunted because of the pest status. She's got the best winged eyeliner on the entire planet, and her main diet is going to consist of fish and small mammals. So we love her. Her wings are currently clipped, which is why we don't have any netting above her enclosure. However, her wings will grow back in a couple months, and then we're actually going to we're planning on training her, starting with target training, getting her weights daily, and then eventually training her to do little shows for us. So we're very excited about that. We'd love to free fly her around the property. So we're going to work with her as much as we can. And she makes a complete mess in her water bowl, so that's got to be changed like twice daily. Our red-legged Seriamas. These guys are the last living species of terror bird on the planet. So terror birds were prehistoric birds during the Cenozoic period that ruled South America. So these guys are from South America. Terror birds were terrestrial birds. Most of them could not fly. This is one of the only species that could. It's also the smallest species of terror bird on the planet, and the last living one. So they're really special. They're basically dinosaurs. And these guys are really cool because they were actually reclassified into the raptor group. So they're now related to hawks, eagles, and falcons, which is super cool. A couple other species have also been reclassified into that group. These guys love to eat meat, and if you give them like a snake, they'll actually take it in their beak and they will slam it as hard as they can against the ground to either stun or kill it. And then they'll put their foot on it and start tearing it up with their beak, which is very sharp. These guys are considered pests in South America because they'll actually attack farmland and livestock. But farmers will actually capture them when they're fairly young and raise them and train them to actually be kind of guard dogs against other Seriamas, foxes, rabbits, stuff like that. And if you guys have any questions at any point, you can just go ahead and ask them.
Why are they going like left
So
and right?
that's kind of just their natural behavior. They pace like that. When we first got them, they were pacing a lot more because they were nervous because it's a new environment. Now they just do it because that's kind of their general behavior. These guys
Keep
can also
going.
run up to 15 miles an hour.
Oh my god.
So if you see one flying, usually it means there's something that's faster than them. And I think the fastest human is 22 miles an hour, and that's someone who's been training their entire life to run that
Not
fast.
any
Yeah.
of us.
If
No.
you see these guys flying, probably want to run.
So, are they hunters or scavengers?
So these are hunters.
Okay.
They will hunt their prey same way that the dinosaur raptor would. It's kind of just run as fast as they can at them and just tear them to bits.
Wow.
So they do hunt. The diet's going to consist mostly of
They're
snakes
so dangerous.
and small mammals, but they are able to eat larger mammals, especially if they're in a flock of Seriamas.
Oh, so they're not like lone animals.
not
they
really.
do go in flocks. Okay.
You can find them on their own, but for the most part, they are social animals, and you'll find them with other Seriamas.
That's a big bird.
Did you say these were the last two?
These are the last species of terror bird on the planet. So there are
There's more in South America.
these guys. There's millions of them in South America, but these guys are. Their species is the last species
They're
of terror
scared.
bird.
Uh-oh. They don't know where to go.
The wings is what gets me. Did you hear that gale force? Bro, you have no idea.
Oh, he's so cute.
All right.
I haven't seen these guys run once.
This is Valana. She is our female ring-tailed lemur. She is just a baby. So she's about 7 months old now, and she's not fully grown. She's not sexually mature. She'll actually be sexually mature at about 18 months.
She just born.
So she's very young. And these guys are super cool. These guys are lemurs. So lemurs are a species only found in Madagascar. All lemurs are endangered. All lemurs are found in Madagascar. You can't find them anywhere else in the world.
What's happening?
Hi.
Hello.
Dakota.
Oh my god.
Hi, puppy.
Okay. Sorry about that. Come here, man.
So
Oh.
ringtail lemurs are one of the smaller species of lemurs, and they actually use their tail a lot for communication. So when they're in large groups, they stay in large groups, and these guys are one of the only species of lemurs that will have more than one baby. So they'll actually have like a litter. These guys stay in large groups, and they actually stick up their tail, and then the way they bend their tail, the way they move their tail around, that is how they communicate with other lemurs in the area. They stick out above the brush, and that's how they communicate, whereas our black and white ruff lemurs are going to be much more vocal, as you can tell. And these guys are probably the most popular species of lemur that you'll see. So King Julian from the Penguins of Madagascar.
That was
Yeah.
him.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. King Julian.
Yes.
His tail is sticking straight up.
So all lemur species are endangered because of deforestation in Madagascar. We're actually partnered with an organization in Madagascar called Go Green Madagascar, and they're actually replanting the rainforest, teaching the locals how to burn piles of wood properly without setting the entire forest on fire. And so you can also see behind us, we're cutting down a lot of trees. So it seems kind of weird for a conservation center to be taking away from nature. However, since we are taking away from nature, we want to give back to nature. And so for every tree that we're cutting down, we're actually going to donate 2 trees to Madagascar, since most of our species end up being from Africa and Madagascar. And we want to do a lot of good for them. We love our lemurs, and we don't want them to go extinct. Some of our lemurs, some of the lemur populations are only down to the last couple thousand, very scarce, where they used to be across the whole island. These guys are more diversely spread across the island, whereas our black and white ruffed lemurs are only in small areas now. And our black and white ruffed lemurs are actually the most endangered lemur on the planet.
Wow.
And we'll get some more information on them when we get over there. But Valana's adorable. She's still pretty skittish with humans. We're actually working with her so that we can eventually do a lemur interaction with her as well. But it's a long process. So we're working on it. We send people in there to take naps or read a book, just sit in there, interact, like get her used to human presence. And then recently, this week, she's actually let us start touching her. So we're very excited about that. It was a huge step. When I was in there taking a nap, she would crawl all over me, but she would never let me like pet her or anything. And this week, it was a huge step. She let us start petting her, so we're really excited about that. She's actually starting to trust us. With mammals, you kind of have to earn their trust more than with a bird. With a bird, you kind of can just kind of convince them, like, yeah, I'll give you, like, if I give you food, you'll do something for me. Whereas mammals, you have to actually gain their trust, and then you can start, training them to do those things for food. All right. Over here, we've got our short-toed snake eagle. This is Ohapui. This Ohapui actually means golden eyes in the Namatequa Native American language. So she is from Africa. However, we did get her from a Native American organization. She's absolutely gorgeous, especially up close when she lets you get close to her. And so her name suggests she has short toes for an eagle and that she likes snakes. So they actually absolutely love snakes. She absolutely loves snakes. And the very few times that we get to feed them to her, she's like absolutely all over them. Getting medication, so she's not getting a whole lot of food outside of her medication because we want to make sure she's eating it because she really needs it. But normally she will not eat around humans. When we put a snake in there, she's like on it as soon as we put it down. You can see her wingspan's pretty big. It's actually about 6 feet when it's fully outstretched.
What's he doing?
So almost taller than a human. Depends on the average human. And these guys can fly for very long distances. And these guys are not actually as fast as other raptors. So falcons are going to be your fastest raptors. Those guys are, you can kind of describe them as your bombers. Hawks are going to be, what are you doing, Coda? He's the new exhibit. What's that?
Marina has the eye.
Yes.
Okay, Marina has the
What you
eye.
doing?
Yes.
And Coral's perfect.
Coral's perfect. I mean, she's not perfect. So, I'll remove what I'm saying.
That she was something about a raptor.
Okay, so falcons are going to be the fastest raptors. These guys are kind of your bombers. They're much smaller, got longer wings, and they can dive much quicker. Hawks are going to be kind of your middleman. They're going to be the ones that are fast, but you know they're not going to go after birds in the sky. They're not that fast. Ohapui's not going to go after birds in the sky either. She's going to be a little bit slower, but she's got great vision.
Oh.
She's very powerful.
Oh, that's what he
Coda.
was looking for.
Dadgummit,
Yeah, I didn't do
We
that.
actually use Coda to make sure all of our
What are you talking about?
enclosures are for anything that might try to dig inside. Because he loves to dig holes. So that hole right there, I'm pretty sure he dug that. He dug up our rocks.
He said, no, I didn't.
He's right there.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did that one.
But yeah, we make sure these are kind of checked to make sure nothing can get in or out. So all the enclosures you see here are actually not permanent. We're actually about to tear all of these down and build their permanent enclosures. So all of our eagles and our hawks and our we don't have any falcons right now, but any falcons we get in the future, all of them are going to have nice large flight cages. They're going to be able to fly from end to end. And eventually we're going to train them to free fly at them. Eon's going to be our first one that we train to free fly. And then either Mabira or Bamba is going to be our second. So Ohapui is kind of agitated with us right now because she's getting medications and treatment. So she's not our first candidate for free flying, but
Oh,
she's
he
gonna
ran
be,
away.
it's going to be super awesome. when we
Come
get
back.
her free. These guys are barred owls. So these guys are the fourth largest owl species in the North America. The largest being the great horned owl, which, if you guys know the owl from Winnie the Pooh, that's a great horned owl. These guys are the fourth largest, whereas the great horned owl is going to stand much taller and compares much larger than when they're held up next to a human.
Great.
So these guys both sustained injuries on I-10 when they were hit by cars on 2 separate occasions. You can see Jargon, who's going to be
Yeah, I
blind
can
in
see his
one eye, and then we've got Pat, who's going to be unable to fly
Sleepy.
because his wings were broken. So they do have perches coming down to their food bowl, and that's how they get there. They don't fly. That's why they have a much smaller enclosure, because they can't fly and they're very lazy. So
I want to say it's fine.
don't get a lot of exercise. These guys are also nocturnal and will actually sing with the other owls in the area, which is really pretty. I got to hear it for the first time the other night. It was awesome.
I falling asleep.
They don't get a lot of sleep during the day right now because there's so much always going on. So they are actually sleeping at night for the most part, but eventually they're going to be left alone to be able to sleep during the day like they should be.
Oh, boy's really sleepy over there.
Then they enjoy their dinner.
So when they get into their new enclosures, they probably won't be shown to the public so that they can actually have
So
their
we'll
privacy.
probably have them shown to the public, but they'll be much more secluded from like our lemurs who are very loud and our construction
Gotcha.
projects and everything.
Okay.
And they'll probably be a little bit further away from public like you would see like at a zoo, just so we can give them a little bit of privacy. And they'll have little boxes and stuff they can go into to hide away if they want to.
My mom loves owls. She would be crying right now.
How's it going? It's cool. I see lots of cool animals. So the beak clicking, for the most part, will mean that they are kind of agitated at us. That didn't actually seem like something that they were
Should probably get my
agitated,
camera out.
like us with us being here. But if you do like enter their enclosures, they'll get all puffed up and try to look really big,
Oh.
and they'll click their beak at you to
This
kind of
is
warn
my
you
house.
to go off. But that didn't
Get out.
seem like it was aggressive or anything.
It was cute though.
Just
Can we do it
trying-
again?
We're just trying to just go to sleep.
All right, so we'll go ahead and move on.
I don't know where we're going.
Like this way.
Seth.
Airborne. She was holding a baby bird.
All right, so we're gonna skip these guys real quick.
It's the second time we've walked by them.
They're so cute.
Look like little pandas with
Matt
long
here right now,
tails.
So I'm gonna stand over here. Mia is the bird that Ryan raised in his apartment during college.
Oh my
On
God.
top of his refrigerator. So they're basically brothers. He's super beautiful. And these guys are known as auger buzzards. So when you think of a buzzard, you think a vulture, something eating dead stuff on the side of the road. Outside of the United States, these guys are actually known as buzzards, even though we know them as hawks. So his Americanized name would be the African red-tailed hawk. You can see that color switch that I was talking about earlier. White on his chest, blackish, kind of dark brown on his back, and then his tail is going to be red, and he's mad at me, so I'm going to step back over here.
Why is he mad at you?
So you see the little strings that are kind of coming off his.
Yeah.
We actually had to capture him to put those on, but so he's kind of mad at me about that.
He did not like that.
No, he did not. So these guys are really special because they actually have kind of a little overhang over their eyes that actually helps them filter light, and it's kind of like a baseball cap. Keeps the sun out of their eyes from above and filters light from below them. And concentrates it more into
He
their
said, I
eye,
don't wanna look at
so they can see their prey easier. And other species of hawk and falcon and eagle have it. It's just not as prominent as this species is going to be. So if he was a little closer, we could see it a little better. But unfortunately, these guys eat chicks and mice as well. And Ryan's actually currently training him to be free-flighted, and we'd like to actually have him perform at the Seminole Games one day.
That would be so cool.
He's really mad at me.
Oh. He's like, no.
It's like we made eye contact.
Am I gonna get to see you at football games?
They look so
Are
sad.
these guys over here jealous?
Yes. Yes, always.
You be jumping at this door. Oh.
It's very beautiful to watch fly. It's really awesome. And we're about to start flying him tethered to a little rope and fly him across the field. So we're pretty happy about that. Gonna get out of his cage to fly.
I'm just wondering, can hawks do the thing that owls can do where they like rotate their head 360?
No.
No.
So owls cannot actually rotate their head 360. They've got like their trachea and their esophagus and everything, and their arteries and everything. That's going to prevent them from rotating fully, as well as their skin is actually going to keep it from rotating 360.
Okay.
It doesn't kind of work like that, but they do rotate it to 270. And then they're very quick about it, so they'll rotate it 270 and then switch to the other side and kind of.
And it looks
Yes, it
okay.
looks like it.
Wow.
They cannot rotate their heads 360 though. These guys do have a pretty broad area of where they can twist their heads around.
Okay. So if this is the one that, what's his name?
Eon?
Oh no, not
Ryan?
Ryan. Is this so? This is the one that Ryan like raised. Is this the first one that was ever here?
So I'm not sure if he was actually originally on display as part of the Avian Biodiversity Center when we were located in Tallahassee. I think Ryan had him to do some falconing and falconry stuff, and just general bird training. And then I think he decided to showcase it, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Stop stepping on it if you don't want to trip.
He said I am stuck.
Alright, and then we're just going to go over to our lemurs. We're actually going to do our lemur interaction now, and then we'll go up front and we'll see our emus, and we'll go back inside and see everybody that we got.
Oh, I don't know where I'm going. I'm sorry.
Alright, so everybody's going to enter the airlock.
Oh,
There's some hand sanitizer in that little thing. We're going to use hand sanitizer before and after interacting with our lemur. So we got a couple rules, because rules are important, even though they suck sometimes. Rule number 1 is going to be, please do not pick them up. They're not cats. They are wild animals. They don't like to be picked up. You can pet them. If you could just step your leg inside.
sorry.
It's gonna be airlocked
You
in.
pet them. You can scratch them. Everything like that. Just don't pick them up.
Here, I got
and
you.
then rule number 2, please don't step on their tail.
Okay.
They just aren't going to like that.
Here you go.
I'm going to hand everybody some blueberries once we're inside. And they're going to come on to you. They're going to eat from your hand. If at any point you feel uncomfortable with them being on you, just let me know.
Do they
I'll leave them
bite?
off. They do not bite unless you try to pick them up.
Cool.
Personal experience.
So just don't pick them up is like the main thing.
Yes. Don't pick them up. Alright, so I'm just going to slip by everybody real
Okay.
quick. And any noises they make are non-aggressive. That noise you heard earlier, which we nicknamed the demon scream, is
Non-aggressive.
not aggressive. It's just territorial. Hey, go get those. All right, so we're gonna enter quickly.
Sure, climb upside down.
Don't let any lemurs into the hallway. Nope, you can't have blueberries yet. All right, and if anybody wants me to take pictures while you guys are playing with the lemurs, even though you've got like 5 of you, so.
Oh my goodness, he just crawled over you.
So if everybody wants to take a little handful of blueberries from me, and then you can hold your arm out just like your other arm, just like this, and offer the blueberries in the other hand, and he will eat right out of your hand.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
Rosie.
my god. Hi.
All right.
Oh my god.
Would you mind holding this?
Yeah.
Like after you can send out the blueberries or whatever, and then I'll
You
get
two are the last ones.
Does this
Okay.
one have a name?
So we've got Sokka and Chondro. So this one's gonna be.
Go on.
Okay,
Let's
there you
see. Sokka has the darker eyes. So this is Sokka. And then we've got a Kundru, or a Chondro as we say. So Sokka means cat in Malagasy, which is the native language of Madagascar. And a Kundru means banana. So their names are cat and banana, essentially.
Cat and banana.
So cute.
So these guys are primates, however, they are not considered monkeys for a couple reasons. So,
Oh.
no,
Oh.
no, I don't have any blueberries. I don't know what you're talking
So
about.
sad.
So, first reason they're not
If you wanna
considered a
pose,
monkey.
I'll take a picture of you.
Oh, well,
Let me give you some more
He's even
blueberries.
trying to
before I
escape.
do.
he's trying to do something.
Let me give you some more blueberries.
Bella.
All right. So these guys are actually the second loudest primate on the planet. The first loudest
Really?
primate's going to be the howler monkey. No, you can't have those. They had these to use so you can get your picture.
Here you
Hey,
go.
no.
Step back over. Uh-oh. He wants out.
You want to hold out your... There you go. All right.
Here you go.
Trying to hold your hand.
All right. So, these guys are the second loudest primate
Gotcha.
on the planet. The first loudest primate is going to be the howler monkey. These guys are considered primates. They are not considered monkeys, though, for a couple reasons.
gosh.
One, they don't use their tail to climb or hang. They just use it for balance. The second reason is going to be that their face is shaped very much like a cat's face, kind of pointed at the end with a little snout. Whereas monkeys are going to have a much flatter, like human-like face. And then the third reason, they have opposable thumbs. However, they're not able to bend all of their fingers simultaneously. I mean, they bend their fingers simultaneously. they're not able to bend them individually.
Oh,
Ooh.
do it again. We're about to do this.
They want the blueberries.
Seth.
All right, who wants blueberries?
I want some.
I do.
All right, we'll
haven't
start
had
with
some
people who
yet.
have not had blueberries yet. Okay.
I have.
Oh,
I really want blueberries.
Hi.
Someone hold this.
You're so cool.
I forgot what to do.
All right, so like I said, yeah, you'll just hold your arm out like this, hold the blueberries in your other hand, and they'll jump in when they aren't distracted. So these guys are again from Madagascar. Lemurs are only found in Madagascar, and lemurs, all lemurs are endangered. These guys are the most endangered species of lemur. They're also the largest species. The original largest species of lemur was about the size of a gorilla, and that was a couple thousand years ago. They all went extinct due to deforestation, and at the time, these guys were the 7th largest. So
That is so cool. Do you want your?
Rosie's holding it like a baby.
I'll get some of you if you want, Seth.
you must want blueberries.
Rosie.
Okay.
So Madagascar is an island found off
Right
the
here.
coast of Africa. It is actually a less developed country, so most of the people there don't have access to the internet and technology, and don't know how to properly burn areas without burning down the entire rainforest. And that's what Go Green Madagascar is there for. It's for education, to
Trying to
rebuild
do
rainforests by planting trees, and by actually teaching farmers there to plant trees that are going to be less likely to burn around the property line, so that they actually maintain the property line. Hi.
Oh my goodness.
Does it taste good?
Cute. You're trying to get out, aren't you?
No, that's not food. That's a tattoo. And these guys are super soft. They actually have a second set of teeth that they use for grooming, so it's like a comb. And you're actually unable to see it because of where it's positioned. But they also have a second
have any
tongue
more
that they
food,
use
I'm
to
sorry.
clean out that kind of comb area. And then if you find Sako, I believe it's... now I can't tell because the light's weird. Yeah.
Oh.
Saka is going to be the one with the darker eyes, and you can also tell it's Saka if you kind of scratch him under the armpit. He'll actually raise his arm before you.
Oh, right.
I believe that's Saka. Yep, that's Saka. You can scratch him right under the armpit. There you go.
Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on. Do it again.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
Could I get some more blueberries?
I'm running low on blueberries, guys.
Okay.
All right. Everybody gets
go
one for
one
now,
real
and then we'll see how many's left. Oh my god, I feel like a parent. Everybody gets some.
I'm gonna hide mine for now.
If you give me some.
There we go. Yeah, we got 2 blueberries left, so we'll use those to escape. You guys got any questions about these guys? Everybody's usually just too distracted by like, the fact that they get to pet the lemurs that they don't hear all the
Oh, I
information.
know. Is there anything like really like? Is there something interesting that they do?
So they actually have 12 different calls that they make. The loud call that we heard outside the enclosure and one point inside the enclosure is their
Handstands.
territorial
Oh my
call.
gosh.
We consider it, because they're in
That's hands.
human care, we kind of consider it like an excited call as well, because we have so many animals and people here to kind of help maintain the territory.
Do you still have your
We don't think it's
I'm
extremely territorial.
I'm out of
So
blueberries.
they have that call, and then one of their other calls is going to be the low growl you guys kind of heard, and that's going to be just them hearing a sound they didn't like. Usually it's one of the metal gates closing. They just don't like the sound of metal on metal. And then you'll occasionally see them kind of rubbing their chest up against like the tarp or the ground, and that's actually the scent gland. So ringtail lemurs actually have scent glands in their arm right above their elbow. And they will rub their tail against that scent gland, get all the scent glands smelly liquid on their tail, and then they'll stick the tail straight up behind them, and that's a sign that they want to fight you. And basically whoever's the stinkiest wins. So it's called a stink fight. And it's really interesting. All right. And then we'll go ahead and go to our emus now. So we're gonna distract them on the way out.
I still have mine.
Blueberries?
I still have mine.
Oh, you
We need a blueberry.
I still have mine.
Oh,
Here you go,
you just
Fran.
feed it to them real quick.
Here you go.
Everybody, exit quick. Quick, before the lemurs come.
Ah.
All right, we're gonna use hand sanitizer again.
Hand sanitizer. What is it?
About 5.5-month-old red kangaroo.
Can we hold him?
Okay, that's okay. They're very docile when they're younger. Yeah, you don't ever expect them to feel like this.
It's so this isn't even right, and I like it better when it's not right. It has like a different thing. It tastes like candy,
It's very sweet.
but it's 100% not right. Yeah, I have only ever had. I had.
Do you want one? Yes. Here, could you?
Like when it's pulled pork, it tastes like meat, right? Okay, so I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah, these are very, very big.
And it's even the consistency of chicken.
Are we gonna pull?
It's a little soft.
Are we gonna put a
Interact.
this blanket over Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I am not.
He just likes to play. He's like a child kind of. Where are you going? Oh, and that's not a pouch.
Pouch now.
That's what he wants. He wants to go in the pouch, but his pouch is in the wash because he made a mess of it.
Oh, it's okay.
We soak them in water for 24 hours. Then we put them in potted soil about
He's just chilling. Like, is he?
She's leaving.
Oh gosh.
His tail is
We almost helped him escape.
One day you can go outside.
Why did you ask me about that?
So wait,
does he already have?
can they stand on their tails?
Yes. 2 toes. And 2 nails on his toe for grooming.
So can they stand on their tails when they're older?
Yes, but his tail's gonna get very thick like this. But he'll only do it if it's like he's he's afraid, and he'll like stand back and like.
Oh my god, I love this so much.
Oh.
It's not warm enough. The next guy.
Yeah, he is bottle fed just because he's so young still.
Yeah.
Super sweet. And he usually has a diaper on, but that's why he's a little messy because he isn't clean. Usually he's much cleaner.
He's
You kind of
okay.
smell right now too.
He's okay, baby.
I was about to ask if you guys are gonna potty train. I was like, never mind. He's probably gonna, be an animal.
Yeah, we'll go outside.
Yeah.
Free to potty wherever.
He so loves this right now. He's like, Jay is
He just like sits back and like, yep, scratch me.
Look at the big old food. Big old food.
Chilling nose.
Isn't his spotted nose so cute?
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Little squinchy nose.
Maybe you feed in their pet.
He needs a real bath.
Feed in their pet.
Well, no, but we're gonna like sponge him.
Oh my gosh.
Seth, are you still in Kappa Kappa Canon?
Yes.
Okay.
It's. I don't ever reply.
I don't know.
This reminds me of my cat, like petting under the chin and lifting up the head.
He's got like bunny
Little
ears.
teeth.
That's so
Tiny
cute.
little teeth. Oh my gosh. I just want to hold his hand.
So
So where did you get him from? Like, where's he from?
Where's he from? Somebody had Michigan. I was like,
Michigan
Alan,
feels
Ryan drove to Alabama and came back with him and didn't tell me, so I don't know anything.
Oh, so he was born in Michigan?
Yes, it's you can't take animals out of Australia. It's like you can't at all. Even now with the fires, like no matter medical issues, they're not letting any animals out. So what's here is here.
Wait, so then how did they get the parents over here?
It's many years of captive bred.
Many years?
Many,
Oh, okay.
many,
So this was before that was being processed.
yeah,
When okay,
yeah.
got you.
Oh, you're just
Food and
you're so lucky.
So he might actually
He's
be
falling
asleep.
asleep.
Well, they sleep with their eyes open because in the wild they have to be so alert. So he might actually be asleep right now.
Oh,
You never know.
Yeah.
I didn't know they slept like that.
I took that one.
Oh, there you're moving. Now you're moving. You're still awake.
Yeah. And you told right.
So we need 40 super rare.
Oh, so soft.
Oh my gosh! He's licking me. That's crazy.
Hi. That's nice to meet you too.
Are you tasting the blueberries or the hand sanitizer?
Yeah, both of them are probably not your diet. What is his then? Like when he's
it's-
older. He's milk right now, right?
Yeah, it's fruits and veggies. It's mostly, and then a pellet
Oh,
for.
I left my purse out there by the lemurs.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
it's okay. We'll get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get it back. Oh my god, I love you so much. Here, I'll get you some. Get a little closer. There you go. There you go. Anybody else want a picture? Rosie, do you want a picture with her?
Yes, get a picture of that beautiful thing.
Here. Okay, awesome. Anybody else?
Rosie, get back.
How much do they sleep?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
So like,
it's like a
more or less than koalas. Watch out, he has a big beak.
Yeah, he bit my jacket.
less or more, no, less than koalas.
Okay. Yeah, I figured.
Oh, look at your tail.
If a kangaroo kicked you,
Oh,
I just know that, yeah,
He did it
like,
twice.
it hurts. We're talking about like,
it's really square.
No, not that. I'm talking about like a few
He won't launch. Yeah, he won't launch you. He'll like push you to the ground. He'll slide.
Oh, it's just spray.
Just for that instance to be able to kick you. But right now he's still a little.
He's probably not bad.
There's nothing.
When he steps on that table, he said,
We haven't changed the signs around yet. Yeah, we used to have some lizards in there, but
Oh, no, he's a tribal.
oh my
just
god.
got wet. Thank you.
Yeah, my sleeve is there.
Oh, here, you want to trade places? So there's, I can.
Well, they have one.
What's that noise?
I also want to.
Good night.
yeah, I will.
Night nap time. Nap time.
One more Bubba Snoop for the road. Oh, now he's just.
Oh, sorry,
Oh, felt the beak. Are you trying to get me? You trying to get me? Oh, you don't hurt. You don't hurt. It just went past it.
But when two pieces of plastic clump you. Clump you.
So funny. You're so sneaky.
Fast. Oh. Uh-oh, he wants your finger. He wants your finger.
No.
Wait, I want to try.
Doesn't hurt at all.
Here. You want to get my finger? You want to get my finger? You want to give me? Oh wow! It literally just feels like someone's just like this.
Really?
That's it. But just with like their nails.
Oh, so like,
It
It doesn't
literally
hurt
does
at all.
not hurt.
Hi.
oh,
Hi, baby.
so it feels like this.
Rosie, it doesn't hurt.
Scared.
Rosie, it doesn't hurt. I promise.
Oh, I'm scared.
I promise it doesn't hurt.
I
Like at
promise it does
all.
not hurt, and he's very gentle.
At all.
Do it. Here, You gotta stick your finger all the
Rosie,
way.
it doesn't hurt.
scared.
You gotta stick your finger all the way.
It does not hurt at all.
I promise you. He's
It's just scary when he comes at it.
Their beaks are not
What's
very, are not
wrong?
very strong.
What's wrong?
Maybe because it keeps thinking we're trying to feed it and then we don't. Rosie, it doesn't hurt.
Hey, it's okay.
Oh, you okay? Calm down.
It's okay.
From the past
You
week.
have food. It's okay.
And then switch this.
Even when you like held on, it didn't feel bad.
Yeah, honestly, he just holds you.
That's
He's
what
gonna
scares me.
He's gonna nip, but it literally, he nips through like
It's
this.
okay. It's okay.
He could probably do it.
Oh, never mind.
He's really trying to eat my pinky there.
I'm still trying to figure out, is this a baby toucan?
I have no idea. I've already asked. That big.
Like, what did that fit his mom or dad?
I don't know.
Because if dad turns into that, oh boy.
Oh!
You stick your finger in there. I'm not talking to you.
Rosie,
It's
I
so
would not
quiet
put
out
your
here.
finger in
Yeah,
there.
you don't want to do that to a hawk.
Yeah, hawks.
You don't want to stick your
See
finger with a
that
hawk.
Look at how sharp.
Because guess what? The reason why the toucan's beak doesn't hurt as much is because it's a long beak. They don't have as
Yeah.
much like, but
Yeah.
that's a little one and it's sharp. Like,
These eat meat.
For meat.
yeah,
That is
precisely
so
your
sharp.
finger.
Omnivores.
Oh, she's peeping.
Yeah, he said that earlier. He was like, she peeps.
Oh, you're so pretty.
All
said,
birds
"I don't
sound like
understand
chickens.
you."
Like they all make that little peeping sound.
Whoa, her eyelid just folded without blinking. So she has two.
Well, they blink fast.
The eyelids.